Alright, Dabi is Toya Todoroki. Let me just put that out there. This is for sure going to be revealed at some point in the story. Let me also mention that it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't been confirmed nor mentioned at all, but man, there is so much damning evidence to this that it's pretty astounding. But still props to Horikoshi. I mean, he is doing this well. He is setting up this storyline great, and it is very intriguing and whatnot, but in the age of the internet, it's really hard to keep things like this under wraps. Before we go down the rabbit hole, there's one more thing I gotta mention, and that is manga spoilers. I'm gonna be going into them, so this means post-season 3 stuff. So if you don't want to know what's gonna happen in the story, I suggest you check out now. Alright, so who is Toya Todoroki? Well, the only real information that we get on him is that he is the oldest son of Endeavor, and that he is also a fire quirk user. So this means that he is older than Natsuo, who is 19. So this puts Toya in his early 20s, I suppose, which would line up with how old Dabi seems to be. And we only ever see Toya twice in the series, and both instances are in flashback. So the first time we see him is from his back view, and the second time we see him from a distance with his hair covering his face. And this is a little odd because Fuyumi and Natsuo are on full display. We know who they are, we see them very clearly, they even have dialogue and whatnot, so that's a red flag right there. Why is Toya so mysterious? So in the few instances that Toya is actually talked about in the series, it's implied that there's some kind of tragedy to him, because when we first see Natsuo talking about him, he's like, "You completely neglected us and left us to listen to Mom screaming and Shoto crying, not to mention what happened with big bro Toya." And then when Endeavor later talks about him, he's like, "Toya's case was regrettable. He possesses even greater firepower than mine, and yet he inherited Rei's weak constitution. He was almost perfect. Almost." So that right there is how we know for sure that Toya has a fire quirk, and it's also even said that it has greater firepower than Endeavor's. So it's likely that he's talking about Dabi's cremation / blue flame quirk here, because typically blue flames are hotter or greater than a regular flame. I mean, not all the time, but in this instance, it is for sure. And also, let us not forget that Endeavor himself is capable of producing blue flames. And as for the weak constitution that he's talking about he inherited from Rei, well, he's likely talking about her weakness to fire, because in a dialogue exchange between her and Natsuo, she says, "I love the cold." And Natsuo's like, "Well, we're all pretty sensitive to the heat after all." And he says all, meaning that him, Fuyumi, Rei, and probably Toya as well. So it's this weakness, or should I say alleged weakness to fire, that likely gave Dabi the scars that he has, because we can assume that Endeavor trained the hell out of him, because that's his thing. He's trying to breed the perfect Pokemon, and he probably thought that he found that with Toya, because he says that he was almost perfect. Almost. And considering that Endeavor's flames cover his eyes and his beard region, he was probably trying to have Toya do the same thing as him. I mean, Dabi's scars are literally in the same exact places where Endeavor's flames protrude from. They're on his eye sockets, on his beard area, his chest, and his arms. I don't really think this is a coincidence, although it was clever by Horikoshi to, put that out there. But if you're really looking at it and comparing the two, it's as clear as day. And being burned by his own fire, or just being weak to fire in general, isn't really that far-fetched, because even Endeavor himself can overheat. We saw it in his fight against High End, and also Shoto has this same flaw to him, but he's able to even it out with his ice quirk. And as for the staples, these are likely some kind of crude suture that Dabi put there himself to keep the wounds at bay somewhat, because they still seem to be active, because when we see Dabi remembering him killing Snatch, the wounds start leaking blood, so yeah. Also, Dabi pretty much has the same hair as Toya, and while Toya's hair is red, we can just assume Dabi likely dyed it black. I mean, come on, that's not too far-fetched. And also, Dabi has the same exact color eyes as Endeavor. I mean, the exact same. So come on. And also, when Dabi is first introduced to the story, he's very reluctant to give his real name. He's like, "I just go by Dabi right now." And Tomura is like, nah, I want your real name. And I was like, nah, you'll know it when you need to. So now let me mention the two instances of Dabi directly confronting both Shoto and Endeavor, because that right there is a red flag in itself. I mean, he has a very specific moment with both of these characters who he's seemingly related to based off of all of this. So back in the training camp / Vanguard Action Squad arc, Dabi directly snatches Bakugo's marble from Todoroki, and then he has this real specific moment with him where they both like make eye contact, and Dabi's like, "How sad for you, Shoto Todoroki." So it's not so much that he's saying Todoroki's full name. I mean, it's likely that he knows it just based off of Shoto being Shoto, and he is in the League of Villains, so they have info on these type of characters. And also, they are a part of UA after all, so they're kind of known in the public, but it's just this oddly specific moment that they have that Dabi doesn't really have with the other characters in this moment. So that right there is kind of like, hey, sup, lil bro. So later on, after Endeavor defeats High-End, Dabi shows up and he comes through the smoke and he's like, "It's nice to meet you, I guess, Endeavor." But then after they have somewhat of a scuffle and Dabi's about to peace out of there, he's like, "Break a leg out there, but don't go kicking the bucket, Todoroki NG." So this is another full name exclamation from Dabi towards one of the Todorokis. And like before, I think Dabi's like, "Hey, sub, dad," because why is he having such a specific moment with Endeavor of all people here? So yeah, that's pretty much everything that points to Dabi being Toya Todoroki, which in turn makes him Endeavor's son and Shoto's brother. So maybe I'm missing some stuff in this video, but it doesn't really matter. This is all of the main stuff that you need to know, and also everything that clearly points to him So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this theory. Let me know what you think about Dabi in general. Do you like him? Do you like where his story is possibly headed? And also, if you liked the video, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It starts at $2 and it gives you access to a Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, my guys, and plus ultra.